Jack Taylor and Sylvia Robinson were friends. For them, the 1960s had been a time of wild success. But by the late 1970s, they were both in financial trouble. Until one night when fate stepped in and changed their fortunes in a dark and crowded club called Harlem World. It's 1964. Somewhere off 116th Street in an after-hours club that used to be a storage room in the back of a record store, there's a metal door with a peephole. If they don't know you or your rep isn't of a certain pedigree, you can't get in.
'Cause I've got my strength and it don't.
Inside are a crew of young black men, decked out in leather jackets, argyle sweaters, and slacks, surrounding a large, brown-skinned man with sleepy eyes and a mischievous smile. His Stetson hat is cocked at a 45-degree angle, and his shark-skin suit glows in the dim red light.
You know what our problem is, brother? Let me tell you something. Our problem is we don't know how to make millionaires around us.
Scanning the circle, he sees the same puzzled look flash across their faces.
Now look here. We don't know how to make each other millionaires. Now listen to this. If you got the idea, then let us focus in on your idea and make you rich. You see where I'm coming from? Because there's no multimillionaires around here that we know of. You understand what I'm saying? See? Because this right here, brother, is a circle of power. You understand? Now, if a motherfucker in the circle has an idea, brother, that idea is a revelation. You understand where I'm coming from? And we're supposed to empower that revelation, brother. Put your energy in the ring of power. Empower your circle, brother.
His name was Jack Taylor. Everyone called him Fat Jack. His crew referred to him as the Fat Man, or sometimes just Fats. He called himself Fabulous. He was functionally illiterate, but he probably understood the book How to Win Friends and Influence People better than Dale Carnegie himself. He was a sharp dresser and a gregarious character, known for giving some of the wildest parties in the Bronx and Harlem. At 6'1" and 250 plus pounds, he threw his weight around like a captain of industry. Jack's whole thing, recalls club manager and friend Vernon Wade, was controlling people. He was a master of control. Jack would do anything to manipulate people. He kept a legion of beautiful women on tap to entertain, and some say to persuade his friends and associates into doing his bidding. If you ever needed something, Jack could get it. He was generous to a fault, but that generosity sometimes came at a price. Taharka Aleem was a teenager when he and his identical twin brother Tunde Raw first met Fats. Back then, their names were Arthur and Albert Allen. They were talented, good-looking, ambitious young hustlers who were part of a singing group called the International GTOs. The two would later become known as the Fantastic Aleems, later simply as Aleem, and record the early 1980s dance floor classic, Release Yourself. At one point in the 60s, Jack owned real estate and had an estimated 5 different restaurants, which were at one time or another located somewhere near 116th Street. One of the most famous was a place he called Uncle Fat's Chitlin House, which featured a popular special called Chitlins in a Sack. The problem was, Uncle Fat's Chitlin House was on East 116th Street, which at that time was occupied by Italians and Puerto Ricans, who had no interest at all in chitlins, Taharka says with a laugh. We thought that was a flaw in his calculation. The one thing that Jack may have loved more than food was gambling. He loved to gamble. His friends say that it was a major problem. More than a few people interviewed for this story say that Jack was in the numbers business. We knew what he was doing, a retired NYPD officer tells me, but Jack flew under the radar. He had after-hour spots all over the Bronx and Harlem, and there were rumors of him having ownership in an Atlantic City casino called Club Harlem. But he had even higher ambitions. As much as he loved food and gambling, Jack loved music. In the 1960s, he tried his best to build the Harlem version of Motown. That was a visionary, Taharka tells me. He had an eye for talent. He had Clarence Reed, later known as Blowfly, on his roster before anyone knew who he was. He had Jimi Hendrix within his grasp when he was an unknown guitarist, but Hendrix didn't trust him. His record labels, Rojak and Taster Records, were home to soul singers Big Maybelle, Kim Tolliver, the International GTOs, and Third Guitar. They made some of the best soul music to come out of Harlem. Jack had dreams, hustle, and ambition. But according to Taharka, Jack lacked follow-through. In a 2020 interview with Jeff Mao, Taharka described Taylor as not much of a finisher, but he was a great starter. With all his ambition, focus shouldn't have been a problem. And it was because Jack's real business wasn't music, food, or gambling. Jack was a drug dealer.
On the next episode of the Hip-Hop Shangri-La, a young Jack Taylor learns the art of the hustle, makes his way north to Harlem, and crosses paths with heroin kingpin Nicky Barnes.